The sky over the Earth training grounds was dark, even though it was only noon. Thick clouds blocked the sun. The wind was sharp and cold. Dust blew across the field where hundreds of alien cadets stood in perfect rows. This was the final test. The Human Military Alliance had allowed a small group of alien cadets to join Earth's elite training program. It was supposed to show peace between the species. But peace was only on paper. In truth, many humans didn't trust aliens, especially not General Drake Vorn. He stood high on the steel platform, arms behind his back, looking down on the cadets, like a king before his army. His black uniform was clean, sharp, and his medals shone even under the cloudy sky. His voice thundered through the loudspeakers. "Today, we separate warriors from cowards," he said. "You want to serve Earth? Then earn it." The cadets didn't move. They waited. General Vorn stepped forward, his eyes scanning the group. He wasn't looking for the strongest or the fastest. He was looking for him, the alien cadet that had been whispered about, the one that made officers uncomfortable, the one that didn't speak unless forced, the one from the planet called Valari Prime. Then he saw him, shorter than the rest. No weapons, no armor, just standing still in the second row from the back. His skin was pale gray, with small black marks running across his neck. His eyes, completely black, stared forward without blinking. General Vorn pointed. "You, step forward." The cadet obeyed without a word. The others moved away from him. "What's your name, cadet?" Vorn asked, walking down the stairs now, boots clicking. "Tarlek," the cadet replied softly. Some of the human officers near the general chuckled. One whispered, "Looks like a child." Another said, "He won't last a minute." Vorn walked in a slow circle around Tarlek, studying him like a predator. "You're from Velari, right?" he asked. "That soft planet where nothing ever happens? No war, no hunger, no courage." Tarlek said nothing. "I've seen creatures. On Mars tougher than you," Vorn continued. "How did you even pass the entrance test?" Tarlek's head turned slightly, eyes locking onto Vorn's. For a brief moment, just 1 second, Vorn's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't explain it. It felt like something was watching him. Not just the cadet, something else. Something old, but the feeling passed. Vorn clenched his jaw. No alien would scare him. "Let's test you," he said loudly. "Let's show everyone what a Valari weakling can do." He pointed at the battle circle, a training ring marked by red energy. "Lines, Tarlek inside." The cadet walked in. "Release the drone," Vorn ordered. From above, a black sphere dropped into the arena. It hovered, then split open. Long arms came out, blades, spikes, small plasma guns. The combat drone activated. It charged forward with speed. Tarlek didn't move. "Why isn't he dodging?" one officer whispered. The drone slashed. The blade stopped inches from Tarlek's face. It froze. A high-pitched whine came from the drone. Its lights flickered. Then it powered. Down. Silence. Tarlek turned and walked calmly out of the ring. The audience was stunned. No one clapped. No one spoke. "Malfunction," Vorn snapped. "Try another one. 2 drones this time." Tarlek stepped in again. 2 drones dropped. They circled him fast. Red lines tracked his body. They attacked together. Same result. Both drones died in mid-air. One crashed to the ground, its legs twitching like it had a seizure. The other simply floated down and turned off. Now, the silence was heavier. This time the general didn't speak. His fingers curled, his eyes narrowed. He didn't understand what had just happened. "Tarlek," he called out. "What did you do?" The cadet looked at him and answered calmly. "I waited." Vorn stepped into the ring himself. "Maybe you'll respond better to this." He pulled out a neural stick, a rod used for pain-based reaction testing. It delivered a shock through touch. Vorn had broken ribs with it before. He struck fast. Tarlek didn't block. He didn't move. The rod stopped just before touching him. Vaughn's hand refused to move further. He pushed harder. His own body resisted. He began to sweat. Tarlek whispered only 3 words. "You are seen." Vaughn fell backward. His legs gave out. His breath became short. He looked around, but the field was empty. No threat, no attack, just stillness. But the wind was gone. No sound. No smell. No air. He looked back at Tarlek, but the cadet wasn't there. Vaughn blinked, and Tarlek was back in front of him, exactly the same, never having moved. Then the world returned. The crowd saw Vaughn on the ground. Some tried to help him up. Others just watched. Vaughn got up slowly, face red, heart racing. The cadets returned to formation. But something had changed. The officers no longer laughed. Tarlek had not lifted a hand. He had not spoken in anger. He had done nothing. But 3 combat drones failed. A general fell, and something unseen had watched through his eyes. Later that night, Vaughn sat in his private room. The lights flickered. He replayed the training footage. But the cameras all glitched during Tarlek's tests. Static. Missing time. He opened his command log, scrolled through alien files, looked for Valari Prime. He found old military records. Dismissed warnings. One line stood out. Avoid direct conflict with Valari-born. Engage only with orbital weapons. Do not allow proximity. Mind breach risk high. What mind breach? He muttered. He scrolled further. A name popped up in the system. Project Watcher. Locked. Classified. Red seal. He tried to access it. Access. Denied. His hand began to shake. He looked into the mirror. His reflection blinked, but he didn't. The wind over the southern pole howled louder that night, but inside the ice, there was silence, until something moved. Beneath the frozen layers of Antarctica, deep in a cave untouched for millions of years, an eye opened. It did not blink. It did not belong to a creature. It was not even alive in the way humans understood, but it watched. And now, it remembered. The frozen signal at Earth Outpost 09, a research station built near the southern glacier shelf. Alarms began flashing. Dr. Emily Varn, the head scientist, was asleep in her bunk until the warning lights turned red. She stumbled out, half awake, and ran to the main console. "Tell me it's just an ice shift," she muttered. But it wasn't. A signal was coming from under the glacier. Not radio, not heat. Something older. Something coded. It pulsed like a heartbeat, and then it replied to itself. Deep memory wakes in. A distant part of the galaxy, far from Earth, a dormant satellite blinked to life. It had not moved in over 12,000 years. Inside it, a small spark of artificial thought awoke. It did not speak. It only observed. A hidden message burned into its systems. If the stone breaks, the cycle begins. And now the stone had cracked. The Watcher turned its long, dead eye toward Earth. It remembered the last time that signal played, and the last world that vanished after. The cadet is missing at the Earth Defense Academy. Panic spread. Tarlek, the alien cadet, had disappeared. No doors were broken, no cameras damaged. He simply vanished. General Marwick was furious. He's an alien, a child. He can't vanish into thin air. But Serena Reich stood still. She didn't look angry. She looked concerned. He didn't run, she whispered. He was cold. Marwick frowned. Cold by who? She didn't answer, because she felt it too. Something had stirred beneath her skin. Old, familiar, ancient protocol on Mars base. An old military AI suddenly powered on. It overrode security and played a video last seen over 900 years ago. It showed a burning city. Not human, not alien. The buildings were melting in slow motion. The sky wasn't red. It was empty. No sun, no stars, just black. Then the screen flickered. A message appeared. Watcher protocol, level 13 initiated. Prepare for loss. Everyone in the room stopped breathing because level 13 meant one thing: total planetary failure. Beneath the ice, Dr. Varn led her team into the deep ice cave. They found a wall, smooth, black, and humming. "It's not natural," she whispered. "It's not even built. It's like the planet grew it." The wall pulsed. Lines of glowing shapes appeared. Alien symbols none of them could read, but Serena could. She arrived at the outpost hours later. She looked at the wall and went pale. She said just 2 words. "It's awake." The first touch, one young soldier, curious, touched the wall. The wall responded. It didn't hurt him. It showed him something. In an instant, he saw a galaxy on fire. A sky tearing open, voices speaking in reverse, creatures made of light. Screaming, he dropped to the floor, eyes wide open. He didn't blink, he didn't speak again, ever. Only his heartbeat continued, steady, slow, but forever, changed. Hidden memories in human blood. Scientists ran tests on the frozen wall, but the wall wasn't reacting to machines. It was reacting to humans, specifically their blood. Human DNA had a pattern buried deep inside, a code, one that matched the symbols on the wall. Serena whispered, "We were never supposed to reach this far. Our blood was made to keep this sealed. But we evolved, too fast, too curious. And now the Watchers know we remember." The alien warning back on the command ship. Vigilant Shadow, Tarlek, reappeared. He stood on the command deck, calm, silent. Every alien officer turned toward him. He said, "Earth has broken the stone." One elder alien dropped her tablet. Another backed away in terror. One whispered, "It's too soon, they're not ready." Tarlek replied, "They were never meant to be ready. They were meant to forget." The sky dimmed over major cities. People looked up. The stars flickered, but not like lights, like eyes, watching, measuring. The moon shimmered strangely, then turned slightly red. And in the deserts of Earth, old bones began to surface. Tall, not human. Alien skeletons, weapons made of unknown alloys, all buried perfectly in straight lines. Someone, or something, had been here before, long ago, and it had died, facing the sky. Final scene, Serena stood before the ice wall. It now pulsed with stronger energy. The symbols had changed. They now said, "Remember us." She looked back at her team. Some shook in fear. Others whispered, but she stood tall. "We thought we were alone," she said, "but someone left us behind. A message, a warning." She touched the wall, and for a moment, the entire planet paused. Then, the wall spoke in 1,000 voices. "The Watchers have awakened." The night sky above Earth's military base was silent, but inside the main tower, General Vaughn was wide awake. He sat at his desk, sweating. The lights in his room flickered. Again and again, he hadn't slept in 2 days. He told himself it was nothing, just stress, just overwork. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. It started the moment Tarlek had looked at him. He could still feel that stare. The whisper behind his eyes. At first, Vaughn thought it was anger, maybe embarrassment from falling in front of cadets. But the feeling was deeper. When he blinked, he saw flashes, images that weren't his. A vast black sky, a cold wind without sound, and eyes, always watching eyes. Every time he looked in the mirror, his reflection moved a little slower than him. He tried to run a scan on himself. Blood pressure, brain activity, heart rate, everything came back normal, except the neural scan. It showed a second wave in his brain, a wave that wasn't human. "Impossible," he said. "I'm not infected, but he couldn't explain it. He felt like he wasn't alone, inside his own head. The private summons, General Vorn finally made a choice. He called Tarlek to his private office. The room was soundproof. Walls made of quantum steel, no windows, no cameras. Only Vorn, sitting behind a thick desk with his fingers crossed. Tarlek entered without a word. The room dimmed slightly. Vorn didn't like that. "Sit," he ordered. The cadet obeyed. "You don't speak much," Vorn said. "No," Tarlek replied calmly. Vorn stood and walked slowly around the room. "You embarrassed me," he said. "You made me look weak." Tarlek tilted his head slightly. "I did nothing." "Exactly," Vorn snapped. "You did nothing, but things happened. The drones shut down. My hand froze. I fell." "How?" Tarlek looked directly at him. His voice was soft but sharp. "You are asking the wrong questions." Vorn frowned. "Then what's the right one?" Tarlek leaned forward. "Ask why your body listened to something older than you." The room begins to change. As soon as those words left Tarlek's mouth, the lights in the room dimmed again. Vorn looked up. The light panels were fully powered, yet the room got darker. Then the shadows moved. Vorn blinked. His breath grew heavy. His hands began to sweat. "Is this a threat?" he barked. "I could end you right now." Tarlek didn't flinch. "You already tried," he said. Vorn's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The air grew thick, like the atmosphere had changed. He tried to move. His legs wouldn't respond. The room was silent, but inside Vorn's head, a whisper began. No voice, just pressure. Like a thought not his own, it repeated one word. "Remember." Suddenly, Vorn's vision flashed. He saw fire. A ruined alien city. Women and children screaming. Human warships above, firing down. A young alien child standing alone, his body glowing faintly. It was Tarlek, smaller, younger, his eyes wide with pain. Vorn stumbled backward. The vision ended. He crashed into the wall. "You were there," he whispered. Tarlek stood, slowly. "You hid your crimes in reports," the cadet said, "but memory does not forget. It waits." Vorn's voice shook. "That wasn't me. That was years ago. Another world." Tarlek took one step forward. "No," he said, "it was you. In this life or the last, you were the hand that pressed the fire." Locked. Inside himself, Vorn pulled out a pistol. His hand trembled. "Don't come closer." Tarlek didn't stop. Vorn fired. The gun clicked. No blast. Just silence. He looked down. The clip was full. No jam. The gun had refused. "No weapon works in the presence of what watches me," Tarlek said. "This room is not yours anymore." Vorn dropped the gun and backed into the corner. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It wasn't fear, like before. It was deeper. Something ancient and cold, like standing inside the mind of a sleeping god. Tarlek walked to the door. Before leaving, he looked back. His voice was low. "You insulted what you could not understand. Now you are known." He opened the door and vanished. Not walked away. Vanished, like the room swallowed him. The aftermath 10. Minutes later, soldiers found Vorn on the floor. He was pale, shaking, eyes wide open. He didn't speak for an hour. When he finally did, his words made no sense. He said, "The air bent." The mirror screamed, "I am already dead." He was taken to the med bay. Scans showed nothing, but every monitor near him glitched whenever he tried to talk. When Tarlek returned to the cadet barracks, none of the other aliens would look him in the eye. Even the human guards avoided him now. The hidden files that night, Major Serena Reich, Earth's top intelligence officer, reviewed the incident report. She knew something wasn't right. She searched Earth's archives. Found a name buried under layers of dead files. Valari Prime, do not engage, Watcher class contact possible. She unlocked more. Project Silence, Project Watcher, Project Sleepers, all red classified. But one file opened. It read, "If you meet one who does not fight, does not speak, and does not fall, leave. If you do not, you will no longer be only yourself." She paused. On the last page, it had a picture, a child, grey-skinned, black eyes, Tarlek, timestamp, 162 years ago, final scene. In the base's dark hallway, a camera caught a strange feed. Tarlek walked down alone. As he passed, the lights turned off behind him, not ahead. The shadows did not follow him. They led him. The medbay lights stayed dim. General Vaughn had not spoken for 2 days. He lay in bed, wide awake, eyes fixed on the ceiling. His mouth moved sometimes, but no words came out, just dry gasps, like someone speaking to something only he could see. Nurses came and went. They ran every scan. Nothing was wrong. Brain healthy, heart strong. But his mind? Gone. Only one word kept, appearing in the biofeed from his brainwaves. Watched. The DNA that shouldn't exist. Major Serena Reich had seen war. She had seen broken minds, alien tech, even time weapons. But this was new. She wasn't scared, yet. But she was curious. She had taken a secret blood sample from Cadet Tarlek. Normally this was against protocol. But after what happened to Vaughn, she didn't care. She had it tested in Lab B7, a black lab under Earth's command tower. 3 top scientists worked all night. In the morning, all 3 refused to speak. They locked themselves inside a soundproof room, refused food, refused contact. Serena went down herself. She found one of them sitting in the corner, rocking back and forth. He whispered, "The genes. They sing. Not like cells, like a voice. It speaks inside the blood." She froze. "Who does it speak to?" she asked. The man looked up slowly. "Not to us, to something deeper, something that answers back." Tarlek speaks. Serena did something few officers dared. She asked to speak with Tarlek, not an interview, a conversation. The cadet agreed. They met in an empty training room. No cameras, no weapons, just one small table, 2 chairs. Serena arrived first. She waited in silence. Tarlek entered quietly. No sound, no footsteps. He sat down. She spoke carefully. "You know what happened to General Vaughn?" she said. "Yes," Tarlek replied. "You didn't touch him." "No. But something happened to him." "Yes." Serena leaned forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "What are you?" Tarlek paused, then finally said, "I am from Velari Prime, but I am not only from there." Serena nodded. "Then, where else?" His eyes grew darker. "I was born in a temple that no longer exists. Beneath it lived something that never died." She tried not to show fear. "You carry it with you." "I do not carry it," Tarlek said. "It walks beside me." The silent death. That same night something worse happened. A cadet, a human named Travis Cole, snuck into Tarlek's room. He had been drunk. Angry. Said the alien freak made everyone weak. He brought a hidden knife. What happened next was caught on only one camera. The rest of the feed cut out. Travis opened the door, slipped inside. The hallway lights dimmed. He never came out. When guards finally entered, they found him on the floor. Unharmed, no wounds, but dead. His mouth open, eyes wide, face frozen in terror. No sign of Tarlek using force. He hadn't moved. He was sitting, meditating as if unaware, but the medical team gave a report. Heart stopped due to extreme fear. Brain showed signs of overstimulation, like he saw something on too big for his mind to handle. The report had one line added in red. Death, caused by exposure to impossible knowledge. The Velari secret. Serena returned to the files. This time, she dug deep into off-world records. One document came from a destroyed Valari satellite. It had survived for only 47 seconds before being shut down. Its last message said, "Warning. Valari temple breached. Signal reached outer systems. Genetic whisper spreading. Not safe. Memory thinks on its own." She didn't understand the last part. Memory thinks? But then she realized Tarlek didn't just remember things. His blood remembered. It remembered war, fire, death, and something older than any galaxy, maybe something alive. The dream room Tarlek was moved to a sealed room. No tech inside, no mirrors, no lights. They called it the dream room, used for isolation when no one trusted a person but couldn't prove guilt. Serena visited one last time. This time, Tarlek spoke first. "You wish to ask what I am again?" he said. She nodded. He stood up. "You want a name, but I am not. That simple?" He walked slowly toward her. "I am not a god, not a monster. I am a door." She didn't move. Tarlek stood inches away now. "When you insulted me, when you struck me..." The door opened. Serena whispered, "What's on the other side?" Tarlek leaned in. His voice dropped to a whisper. "The first fear, the one even the stars avoid." Then he smiled for the first time. A smile that was not human. At a code that hacked itself at the same moment across the base. Every system crashed for 12 seconds, not from power failure, from something else. All screens went black. One message appeared. "Watching." Then the power came back. Log showed no cause, no entry, no exit. But engineers found something buried deep in the core system. A code string, written in an unknown language, and one human officer screamed when he tried to translate it. He clawed at his own eyes and whispered, "It sees back." End scene that night. The stars above Earth blinked once, just once. Satellites confirmed. One star in the Orion sector disappeared. No explosion, no collapse, just gone, like it had looked the wrong way and saw something waiting. It started with a signal, not a normal signal. No language, no code, just a pulse. It came from deep space, passed through hundreds of systems, and reached Earth's base like a whisper through bones. Nobody understood it. But Tarlek woke up the moment it arrived. His eyes opened in the dark isolation room. He smiled and whispered to no one. "It heard me." The signal of the forgotten Major Serena Reich stared at the data screen. She sat in the underground comms room. The signal repeated every 13 seconds. Just one soft thump, like a heartbeat. The machines picked up a strange effect. Those who listened too long began to feel cold inside. Some got nosebleeds. One passed out. But the signal was not loud. It didn't attack. It called. Serena pulled a hidden file. Project Temple Core. Black-level clearance. Denied to generals. Denied even to world leaders. She forced it. Open. What she saw made her chest tighten. The temple's Truth Valari Prime. Long ago, Earth scientists discovered ruins there. An old city buried under ice and stone. But beneath it, deeper than any cave, was a structure, a temple made of black crystal. It had no doors, no entrance. But inside it, machines stopped working. People heard voices. The temple was marked. Do not enter, do not approach, do not wake, but humans, proud and blind, built a research station nearby. 6 months later, everyone vanished, all 50 scientists, gone. When drones flew in, they recorded only static and, briefly, one word carved into steel: remember. Serena now knew. Tarlek was born near that place, but the temple never died. It waited, and now it called back. The prisoner who's not a prisoner, Tarlek's room was watched by 10 guards, 3 scanners, and motion-sense floor tiles. None of it mattered. He sat cross-legged, breathing slow, calm, peaceful, until midnight. At exactly 0 the floor tiles cracked, not loudly, just hairline fractures. One tile lifted up slightly, and a black mist rose from the crack. The guards didn't see it. The cameras glitched. But in the room, Tarlek opened his eyes and said, "You arrived late." The mist swirled, and a shape formed, vague, tall, like a cloak made of night. No voice came, just pressure in the air. The lights outside the room dimmed. One soldier collapsed, unconscious. Tarlek stood and faced the shape. He bowed. Then he whispered, "I am ready." And the mist sank into his skin. Madness in the lab. In Lab B7, the scientists tested more of Tarlek's blood. But something had changed. One drop moved, not under a microscope, not under machines. It moved on its own. A single cell danced across the glass plate. Then it stopped and grew a shape, a perfect black circle. Then it burned through the glass. One scientist screamed and tried to leave, but the lab doors wouldn't open. The room's temperature dropped. Steam formed from breath. On the screen, letters began to type themselves. The temple never died. The next moment, the power cut out. When it came back, all three scientists were on the floor, alive, but eyes rolled back, mouths open. Each one whispered the same word in sync. Knocking. Red alert. Serena ordered the base into lockdown. She rushed to the command center, heart racing. Tarlek's room feed was offline. "Is he still in the room?" she asked. A soldier answered, voice shaking. We don't know." Guards went to check. They opened the door. Tarlek was standing still, eyes closed, breathing calmly. But one thing was different. Every guard felt like they were being watched from behind their own eyes. Memory that bites back. Serena tried something dangerous. She requested a memory dive, a banned tech used to read traumatic memories from others. Painful, illegal. But she needed answers. She accessed Tarlek's childhood. The machine hummed, connecting to his brain. At first, nothing. Then, images, flashes, a child standing before a black temple, a voice calling from inside. Not in words, in emotion. It pushed thoughts into his mind like cold fingers. He walked inside. Darkness swallowed him. Inside, light bent. Time twisted. 1,000 faces stared at him, none alive, but all whispering. "Hold us. Be us. Let us see again." Then, a choice. And Tarlek said, even as a child, "I am not afraid." That was all it wanted. The ship that shouldn't exist above Earth, a ship appeared. It wasn't on sensors. No signal, no engine heat. Just there. Black. Silent. Floating. The size of a city. Its surface was not metal, but stone. Marked in deep symbols. Alive with movement. One Earth pilot flew close. He didn't return. His last words, sent through static, "The ship is listening." Seconds later, the ship vanished. No warp trail. No flash, like it never existed. Tarlek speaks again. That night, Tarlek asked to speak with Serena. She met him alone in the same training room. He was already sitting there, waiting. Serena sat across from him. Her hands were steady, but her heart raced. "Tell me what's happening," she said. Tarlek spoke gently. "I was chosen. Not because I am strong, but because I said yes." "Chosen for what?" He smiled softly. "To be the window, the first opening, the whisper inside the galaxy." Serena's eyes narrowed. "What does it want?" Tarlek looked up. His voice echoed, not loudly, but it felt like it came from everywhere. "It does not want, it remembers. It wakes. It sees that war never ended, only slept." Final scene. That night, From space, Earth's moon looked different. Something was moving beneath the surface. Satellites caught a crack, just a small one, near the South Pole. A dark light shimmered for 2 seconds, then vanished. The next morning, Earth's tides changed by only a few inches, but Tarlek smiled in his cell and whispered, "The temple breathes again." The Earth shook, but no one noticed at first. It wasn't a quake. It wasn't from the crust. It came from under that. Deeper. Older. It was a sound only the ground could feel, and beneath the crust, something moved, very slowly, after thousands of years of silence. The lost map major, Serena Reich, sat in her quarters, staring at an old file. It wasn't digital. It was printed on aged paper and sealed in black plastic. She had broken 6 levels of military law to get it. Project Hollow Tomb. The file showed a map of the Earth's inner layers, but with one thing added: a structure, deep, under Antarctica, marked as the First Lock. It was discovered 61 years ago during a deep seismic scan. They sent a probe. The probe vanished. No explosion. No signal loss. Just disappeared. The project was buried, sealed and erased, but now the same pulse from Tarlek's blood matched the energy found at that location. The eyes underground, deep in the Earth Command Base. Tarlek was placed under full scan. Brain, blood, skin, even thought patterns. One AI system read him for 37 hours. Then it shut itself off. The machine had one final message before going dark. Observed something it should not have, resetting permanently. Tarlek opened his eyes during the scan. He looked at the camera, then he said softly, "There are eyes beneath your feet." No one understood what he meant. But within 1 hour, seismic sensors picked up a strange wave from Antarctica. Not from the sky, from below. The frozen path Serena boarded a secret aircraft with a 5-person team. Their mission: reach the first lock. The aircraft was black, silent, and fast. As they flew over Antarctica, something strange happened. The compass spun. The sky looked normal, but the stars were in the wrong places. Even GPS stopped working. Then they saw it, a flat ice field, with no snow, just smooth, ancient stone. Round, black, 800 meters wide, a perfect circle in the middle of nowhere. They landed. The stone felt warm. Serena stepped forward. As her boot touched the center, the circle pulsed red. The forgotten gate. The ground began to sink, not crack, not break. It simply lowered, like an elevator without sound. Her team stood frozen. The ship's pilot shouted, "We need to go." But Serena stayed. Then she heard it, a voice, not out loud, inside her head. It didn't use words, it used feeling. She felt the weight of memory, the pain of ages, the scream of a galaxy before it was born. One of her men panicked and fired his weapon at the stone. The blast vanished midair. So did the man. Nothing left but his boots. The lock breaks. At the Earth Command Base, alarms went off. The sensors, tied to Antarctica, glowed bright red, then went black. Serena's ship had stopped transmitting, but back in his room, Tarlek stood still, whispering. Guards aimed weapons. He didn't look at them. He said, "The lock is open. The tomb is breathing. You can't close it now." Inside the core, Serena and her remaining team now stood in a vast underground chamber. They weren't standing on stone anymore. They stood on teeth, fossilized, layered like tiles, and ahead of them, across a bridge made of bones, was a door. No handle. No key. Just carved words in a language she somehow understood. To remember is to awaken. To awaken is to become. One man walked toward it. He smiled like he saw something beautiful. Then his body folded in half. Not broken, folded, as if his bones were made of paper. The door opened. The memory stone Serena stepped forward, alone now. The door led to a room filled with floating black stones. Each one hummed softly. She touched one and saw everything. A flash of stars dying, screams without mouths, a war fought with thoughts instead of weapons. Civilizations erased with a whisper, and in the center of it all, a being that had no name, just a shape and a feeling, knowing. Too much knowing. It didn't hate. It simply noticed, and when it noticed, things changed. The forbidden truth. Back on the surface, her ship caught fire without fuel. It melted from the inside. But Serena didn't run. She walked back toward the open tomb, face pale but calm. In her hand was a piece of the memory stone. She had taken it, and it had taken part of her. Her eyes were now black. No pupils, no whites, just black. When she spoke into the comm, her voice was hers, but not only hers. It was never buried, it was waiting. Earth is not just a world, it is the lid on a prison. And we are the cracks. All systems, down at Earth command, the lights flickered, every camera feed turned to static. Then a single image replaced all screens. A black circle, with a single open eye in the center. Then a voice. We are memory. We are the watchers beneath. Your time. Above is short. Then silence. Power restored. All screens blank. Except one. Tarlek's cell. It was empty. No alarms had gone off. No door had opened. He was just gone. Final scene. A deep space satellite caught a last signal from above Earth. A shape had left the planet. It was not a ship. It was a shadow. It had no weight, no heat, but the stars behind it bent slightly. Then, one star winked out the same way others had. Earth scientists stared at the data. They tried to explain it, but one of them just wrote a note. We didn't create the first war, we were just the next battlefield, and far beneath Antarctica. The tomb sighed. It began when Orion disappeared, not slowly, not over years, just gone. One night it was there, bright and beautiful in the winter sky. The next night, not a single star in that part of space. People thought it was a telescope error, but it wasn't. The sky had forgotten, and it was only the beginning. Satellite eyes see nothing over. 300 observation satellites turned to the same region. Their data returned blank, black. Even their sensors, which didn't rely on light, showed no movement, just cold silence. Then, one satellite drifted closer than planned and sent a short final message. It's looking back, then nothing. The sky remembers Dr. Ellick, a xenohistorian at Mars base, stared at the missing star zone. Her hands trembled. I've seen this before, she said. She opened an old alien scroll thousands of years old, recovered from a burned-out world. The symbols translated into one phrase. When the sky forgets the stars remember the blood. She backed away, face pale. The last time this happened, the Valari collapse. A galaxy-spanning empire that vanished in a single week, without war, without disaster, just erased, as if they had never existed. And now, it was Earth's turn. The countdown begins. At Earth command, Serena Reich returned from Antarctica. But she wasn't the same. She moved like her body was filled with someone else's thoughts. She had black veins beneath her skin. When General Marwick questioned her, she didn't argue. She just looked at him and said, "You were never in control. You were only in the way." He tried to pull his weapon. He dropped it instead, his hands shaking, because in Serena's eyes, he saw a night sky where nothing lived. Memory wakes in others across the world. People began to have the same dream, a black tower rising from the ocean. A circle of stars spinning the wrong way, a voice whispering, "You are not first, you are not last, you are next." Thousands of people woke up screaming, some clawed their eyes, some walked into the sea, some just stood still and stared at the sky, waiting. The false moon. On the third night, Earth's moon changed, not in shape, but in reflection. It no longer reflected sunlight. Instead, it reflected something else. Something behind Earth. Scientists were confused until one zoomed in and saw a second moon. But it wasn't real. It was a shadow the size of a continent floating just behind the planet, moving with it, like a hunter waiting for the prey to sleep. And then, it blinked. Stone that shouldn't speak. Serena dropped a piece of the black stone from Antarctica on the general's desk. He refused to touch it. She told him, "It's not a weapon, it's a key." "A key to what?" he asked. Serena replied, "To what we were before we forgot." He stared at her. She added, "Humans were never meant to rise this far. We were supposed to stay in the mud. But something made us curious. That was the mistake." Tarlek returns above Earth. A rift opened in the sky. It was not a wormhole, not a ship, just a tear in reality, and through it walked Tarlek. But he wasn't just a cadet now. His body shimmered with deep black armor. Not metal, not stone. It looked like it was made of absence. Where he stood, light bent away. He looked down at Earth and said, "The test is over." The memory begins. The trial of remembrance. Serena gathered the surviving command staff. She drew a perfect circle on the floor. Inside, she placed the stone key. Then she pointed to the sky. "Only one question matters now," she said. "Do we remember who we were?" The general asked. "What do you mean?" Serena answered. "This isn't the first time we rose. It's just the first time we remembered what we paid to rise before." All systems fail at midnight. Every major human system failed. Satellites, communications, power grids. Nothing. Exploded. Everything just stopped. Hospitals fell silent. Cities dimmed. Missiles couldn't launch. Aircraft couldn't fly. But there were no attacks, because the enemy didn't come to destroy. It came to erase. Final scene. Serena stood at the top of the Earth Command Tower. She looked up. The stars were gone now, all of them, only blackness. And in the center of that blackness, a single open eye, not physical, not glowing, just there, watching, waiting. She whispered to herself, "The sky remembers now, but it's not mercy it brings, it's the final truth." The stars were gone. Only darkness filled the night skies above. Earth, no moon, no constellations, just a smooth black ceiling, and in that blackness, an eye watched, unblinking, not made of flesh, not made of anything known. And on Earth, billions could feel it. It wasn't just watching, it was listening. The voice from the core Tarlek, once a small alien cadet, now stood atop Mount Elbrus, one of Earth's oldest peaks. He wore no armor now, only silence. The wind didn't move around him. Birds wouldn't fly near. The air seemed frozen in time. And in his hand, he held a piece of the memory stone. He placed it on the ground. It sank through solid rock as if the earth opened for it. Then he said just one sentence, "Let the memory return." The stone pulsed red, and across the world people screamed, not in pain, in remembering. The truth of humanity. Children woke speaking alien languages they never learned. Elders wept at symbols they hadn't seen in 10,000 years, and some humans dropped to their knees, not from fear, but from sudden knowledge. We are not Earth's first people. We were seeded here, not as life, but as bait. The labyrinth genome. In a secret lab under old Africa, scientists finally cracked an ancient part of human DNA. It was shaped like a maze. a structure that served no biological purpose, until now. As the memory stone activated, that maze in human genes began to shift, not evolve, unfold. Serena Reich, standing before the world leaders, spoke calmly. We were locked. Now we are not. The tomb was never meant to be found, but we found it. Or maybe it found us again. When the sky screamed, the moment came at 0301 UTC. The black sky didn't light up. It shivered. A ripple, like water. And then, a scream. Not sound, a feeling in the bones. Every animal froze, every machine sparked. Every being with eyes looked up and saw the stars return, but wrong. They weren't where they used to be. They moved, turned, and twisted like they were alive. And from behind the stars, something came. The shape beyond space. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a being. It was a pattern, a moving knot of space, colorless and huge, stretching across dimensions. Tarlek looked up and smiled. It remembers me, he whispered. And then it spoke. Its voice came from inside every mind on Earth. The record stirs. The judgment returns. The battle never ended. The final weapon. At the center of Earth's core, a second tomb opened. Not a chamber, but a code hidden in planetary heat signatures. The Earth's rotation slowed for exactly 9 seconds. Then something launched from the core, a black spike shaped like a needle. It didn't fly into space, it flew into the pattern, and the sky exploded. The human that wasn't Serena fell to her knees. Her skin glowed with memory. She remembered what she used to be, not a soldier, not a general, but a guardian from the first cycle. Her name back then was Urina. She was made to protect the lock, but she had failed. That was why humanity was created. To try again. Tarlek walked to her. He held out a hand. You were never meant to carry it alone, he said. She took his hand, and they rose. Together. The end that was a beginning all around. The world. Cities stood quiet. The stars stopped moving. The pattern vanished, but left behind one message carved into the sky for all to read. Sleep again, Guardians. The record continues. This time, maybe you will win. The stars blinked once more, then returned to normal. The eye was gone. The tomb closed itself, and the memory stone turned to dust. Final scene. Years later, deep in space, an alien fleet passed a small, dark world. Their sensors screamed warnings, but they didn't understand why. One alien looked down and whispered, "This world feels too quiet." Another replied, "Mark it forbidden, add it to the others." And in their records, Earth received a final label, "Do not disturb, Judgment World."